Welcome to our YouTube channel, Putting Up with the Puriris. Today we're doing a new segment called Beyond Boilup, where we're going to show you how to make an orange cake with a zesty citrus syrup. This recipe is courtesy of my husband Calvin, who's a really good cook, but he doesn't fit within our brand guidelines, so he cannot appear on our show. So the ingredients that we have for our orange cake today are 375 grams of butter, 375 grams of caster sugar, 6 free-range eggs. We've got the zest and juice of one orange, a large orange, 300 grams of plain flour, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, 75 grams of almond meal or ground almonds, and 2.5 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Okay, so we'll start by cubing the butter and then creaming it with the sugar. So the butter's been left at room temperature, so it's just going to make it easier to cream. So it's much better to just leave it out of the fridge for a while and let that come up to room temperature. So we're just going to put that in our KitchenAid bowl. If you're on the hunt for a mixer for your baking, I can highly recommend the KitchenAid. I've had this for about 5 years and I've had absolutely no problems with it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to add the 375 grams of caster sugar into the bowl and we will just mix it in. This is really loud, so we're not going to film this part. Okay, so that is beautiful and light and fluffy, and you can tell it is because it's quite pale. It's lost a lot of its colour. So what we're going to do now is add the eggs. So we'll just break 1 egg at a time and mix well. And I'll just turn that right down so she can just add the eggs right in. Oh, that was a double one. Okay, so I'm just going to sift all the dry ingredients together. We have got our toru grams of flour, our toru tablespoons of baking powder, which we'll just pop on the top, and we'll sift it all together into this bowl. Meanwhile, I've added the orange zest into the creamed butter, sugar and eggs. Yeah, I can't buy this. And just on top of that flour, we'll pop the Fitu Tacoma grams of almond meal. That is alright. 75 grams. For all you Pākehā watching. Or most of you Māoris watching. And we're just going to quickly mix these together. And then in portions, we will add it into the butter mixture for Aria to fold through. Portion tahi. So we're just going to fold that through. We don't want it to be a gloopy mess, so we really are just folding and not kind of getting into a mixing motion. Okay, here's portion rua, and Aria will explain the best technique for folding. So what I do is I kind of take the spoon through in a cutting motion and then fold it over, as opposed to beating it. And add the next lot. Go. And just the little leftovers. And there. This, I can already tell this is going to be such a beautiful cake. What was Calvin's inspiration in creating this recipe? Calvin's inspiration in creating this recipe, I'm sure, was feeding me. So we're going to add the freshly squeezed orange juice. No mils of freshly squeezed orange juice. That's Japanese. Konnichiwa. So I'm just going to fold that through as well. And then he's going to also add the 2.5 tablespoons of olive oil, extra virgin. You just, like any cake, you just tip that into the bowl. Into the cake tin. And while I'm doing that, Mihi can tell you about the oven.
Okay, so the oven is preheated at 150 degrees.
So that is 175.
Cook it for the first 20 minutes on fan bake, and the remainder of the time just on normal bake.
So it ends up being about an hour, I think, in the oven, but just remember that first 20 minutes, it's crucial that you have it on fan bake before you then switch to just normal bake for the last 40 minutes. I really love licking the bowl. I'm gonna get as much in there as possible because it's probably not good to eat all that raw egg.
Delicious though.
I'm gonna give it a
Don't pretend you're gonna make a whole cake and eat the mixture.
I am gonna give it a crack anyway. If you just tap it a couple of times as well before you put that in the oven. So we're just going to move on to making the syrup now to go on the cake, which is still in the oven. It'll be in there for about another 30 minutes or so. So we're going to zest 2 oranges. Just straight into a bowl. While I'm doing this, Mihi can tell you about the other ingredients for the syrup.
Okay, so we've got some vanilla essence, 1.5 teaspoons, which we'll just pop into the pot. We've got some cloves. And 2 cinnamon sticks here. Which aren't breaking. They're meant to. Alright, that'll do. Just pop all of this in there.
So I've zested 2 oranges into the bowl, and we actually need the juice of 3 oranges. So I'll just go ahead and do that now. So just cut them in half and grab this thing. What's this called?
Juicer contraption.
So just use this juicing contraption.
Made of wood.
So this is going to end up being about 300, maybe 350 mils. So I'm nearly done. This is just the last half of an orange. It's super messy. But it smells so good. You know what? Oh my god, fresh orange juice smells so good. Okay, Mihi's just going to put that in the bowl.
Okay, we'll just tip that into the saucepan along with 150 grams of caster sugar. Okay, so we've got all our ingredients in the saucepan. We're just going to pop it on a medium heat to bring to the boil so that all the sugar dissolves. Alright?
If you're on the hunt for some pots, I can highly recommend Le Creuset. These are such good quality and they're cast iron, so they're really, really good to cook with and healthy to cook with.
Okay, so the syrup's just come to the boil. We're just going to turn it down a little and let it simmer until it goes nice and syrupy.
So we've just pulled this out, it's looking beautiful. I'm just going to insert a clean skewer into the centre. I like to just do it from an angle on the side, and hopefully that comes out clean, which it has, perfect. And also you can just test it by lightly pressing in the centre and it is bouncing back beautifully. So that is cooked to perfection. That is beautiful, it's absolutely perfect. It's lovely and moist. I can't wait to eat it. We're just going to whip up some cream and we'll serve that up. So we're just going to serve up our cake. I'm actually using a filleting knife. This is my favourite knife, Boilup knife. And this is why you shouldn't put them in dishwashers. We've got 2 of these. One of them has the end chipped off and this one is curved. Do not put them in the dishwasher. Tip of the day. I'm just going to serve this cake up. Oh, it's beautiful and moist, I can feel that. And Mihi will bring some syrup over. Oh, that's perfect. That is so beautiful. This is a beautiful cake that you can have as a dessert. It's also really lovely cold, like cold with the next day perhaps with a cup of tea. Absolutely beautiful.
and I'll just add on some really lightly whipped cream. When you are whipping cream, just don't overdo it. Just lightly whip it and add a little bit of icing sugar and maybe some vanilla extract just to kind of cut through that fat. And a lovely dollop on there too. Voila. So, Calvin has recommended this bottle of dessert wine to go with this, our orange cake. This is a Dorato. It's an Italian wine. Some people know this is a straw wine. It has orange and apricot characters, so that will go really perfectly with our with our cake.
With our cake. Yeah, you probably can't find this at Pack and Save. So maybe you could match it with a sweet navel orange raro, perhaps. This looks delish.
Yum ho.
Let's give it a go. Tap high. That's beautiful.
I can feel my chubby cheeks getting chubbier.
It's so good. So Calvin, what do you think of your recipe? Did we pull it off?
Lucky I was there to save you too.
Cut!
Don't jump up and down because people will just comment on your jiggly titties.
But I'm really good at dancing.